The journey of Marvel Comics with the Alien franchise had a bumpy start, but Alien Thaw by Declan Shalvey and Andrea Briccardo turned things around. Now with Alien Descendant, this dynamic duo is back, promising to build on a chilling legacy of Thaw. In Thaw, we saw a terrifying new xenomorph variety emerge, a result of crossbreeding with another alien species on a distant planet. Now Alien Descendant picks up the threads, confirmed to be a direct sequel to Thaw. The new breed of xenomorphs born from LV-695's native creatures is still haunting the ice-covered moon. The human angle, we're introduced to a crew aboard a private vessel funded by Jun Yutani III, a scion of the Weyland-Yutani Empire. Unbeknownst to them, their lucrative mission might just be a one-way ticket to a deadly encounter with the xenomorphs. In this video, we will explore the first and latest issue of the 4-issue miniseries, and from the looks of it, we're very excited about it. So without further ado, let's begin. Before we go into our video, we have a small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Now let's begin. The Prelude, Alien Thaw. In Alien Thaw, set in the distant year of 2190, we find ourselves in a universe where water is more precious than gold, crucial for the expansion of space colonization. We meet Batya Zan, the top-notch chief scientist of Talbot Engineering Inc. She's on a mission to uncover water-rich planets and has brought her family along for the ride on the icy moon LV-695. Her daughter, Zasha, isn't just along for the ride, she's a key player in the research efforts. But as in any good sci-fi story, things take a wild turn. Zasha's routine research goes south when her ice pick accidentally punctures a hidden facehugger frozen beneath the surface of LV-695. The creature's acidic blood starts eating away at her tool, a red flag that she quickly reports to Batya. Undeterred by the potential danger, Batya decides to extract this peculiar sample, unknowingly setting off a catastrophic series of events. Then there's the white xenomorph. It's not your run-of-the-mill alien. This one, emerging from a human host, has unique features like body spikes and a scaly hide, not to mention its deadly spike-laden tail. Its appearance in the story throws a wrench into the chaos, especially when Zasha's father, actually a synthetic member of the team, tries to whisk her away from a xenomorph ambush. In an unexpected twist, this white xenomorph unwittingly turns guardian for Zasha, taking on the black xenomorphs in a brutal showdown. Zasha somehow manages to escape, but Dayton is left back on LV-695, and here's where the first issue of the brand new comic begins. Zasha's personal mission. The comic is set a few years after the events of Alien Thaw, and Zasha is grown up working for Weyland-Yutani. It starts with a monologue from Zasha, which also serves as a refresher from the previous comic. I know the cold. I grew up with it. An infinite expanse of cold. Once I had a family and learned to live with the cold, to build a home, but all that's gone now. No matter how much I wish I had it back. In the time since, in all the other places I've seen or been, one truth has become more clear. A life without family is the coldest of all. Our plucky, pink-haired protagonist is on the private Weyland-Yutani vessel called the Descendant, which is under the command of Jun Yutani III, presumably a descendant of Yutani. The crew of the Descendant have been in deep space for a while now, unable to go home. The innumerable rotations and weeks of scans had started taking a toll on them. The memories of their families were fading by the day, a sign that they needed to be home. Anyway, it turns out that Jun Yutani doesn't really show up to meet his crew and always remains in his swanky penthouse ship. Zasha, who now served the company under the name Cole, received a call from the boss who informed them the time they'd been waiting for had arrived and they had to suit up and get to work. But why was Weyland-Yutani back on LV-695? Well, the greedy company wanted to retrieve their sunken Conestoga-class military vessel, the USCSS Boreas. But is that it? Because as far as my memory goes, when Weyland-Yutani is involved, things are far beyond what meets the eye. Nevertheless, the crew soon found itself in the atmosphere of the icy planet. Pregnancy monsters. Several small ships landed on the icy ground while Cole and her mates went underwater in their special air-cum-water ships, designed in the image of spiders and crabs. Interestingly, the ship, Boreas, sank next to the old base, which was a mile away from where the team was diving. They like to believe that the current must have moved the ship in the past decade. It wasn't long before they managed to locate what they were looking for, but as should be expected, those dark biomechanical monsters were lurking nearby, waiting to make the next kill. The team goes in, and two of them, Frank and Monique, start making love. You see, too many people on the Descendant. They thought no one could see them, but unbeknownst to them, a prowling xenomorph found itself looking at some fine X-rated stuff. A lady so hot anyone would be tempted, I believe. The Xeno would have attacked and ended the session right there, but before it could do so, Cole Cole arrived on the scene, obliterating the xenomorph. Had it not been for her and another colleague, the couple would have had themselves splattered across the hallway. Frank began to explain himself, but Cole stopped him. Everyone has their secrets. I don't care what you and Monique have going on, just do it on your own time. We have bigger concerns. 10 years ago, when we met Zasha for the first time in Alien Thaw, she was a bubbly young girl, but seeing her family perish and growing up alone for 10 years without parents has changed her. She had become cold and mission orientated. Anyway, she briefs the team about xenomorphs, the way they reproduce, the threat they pose, and everything else there is to know about them. She also reveals that Yutani hired her to run the salvage mission because he believed that 2 or 3 xenomorphs were present on Boreas. It was possible that the one they had just encountered was the only one, but it was also possible that there were many more waiting to make the next kill. Monique calls them pregnancy monsters, which is cute, but she has yet to learn what they can do. Yutani is not who you thought he'd be. Soon, Cole gets word from Miguel that Yutani's yacht had departed from the Descendant and was heading to the landing site, where Cole's presence had been requested. She asks her team to be careful and she leaves to meet Yutani. But Zasha had her own mission. She was here to find the remains of Dayton, a synthetic she believed was her biological father. And then she got to know the truth was the very day she saw him for the last time. She wore a swimsuit and headed towards Miguel because it was better to leave the small booster ships in position in order to reduce the damage to the hull. It's now that we get a good look at a rare sight, a xenomorph swimming in water. Although it chased her, Cole's suit helped her reach the surface unharmed. There was still 15 minutes for Yutani to arrive, so Cole decided to run her little side mission of finding whatever remained of Dayton. Meanwhile, the rest of the team were on the Boreas, doing a sweep for more hostiles via the bridge. They started to realize that the Boreas could have been lifted very easily, so what was the reason for bringing them in? Were they all serving as bait? Furthermore, their trust in Cole, their leader, had begun to dwindle. While Cole reached her family's old base, Yutani's ship landed. You see, he was not who you might have been expecting. Yutani was a young boy, maybe late teens, and he was the one running the show. But more interestingly, he knew exactly what the LV-695 was hiding. Hidden treasure that could only be found after scratching the surface. He called it a fishing expedition, but they were fishing for xenomorphs. We see Yutani taking a strike, and the baseball sinks into the cold water. With it, innumerable white hybrid xenomorphs could be seen in the backdrop. Planet HD 2022-06BK. Since this is a new story arc, we have more than one active subplot. The next panel takes us to Planet HD 2022-06BK in the year 2168, where we have the mining colony called Clowley. Here, the mining operations were operated by a man, but the rest of the staff were all synthetics. Of course, being a typical Weyland-Yutani dude, he didn't treat the synths as equal, considering them expendable and replaceable. This, despite the fact that the team did not like to be spoken to in the fashion. In fact, many synthetics faced hardships, and if destroyed, they were left to rot, or whatever it is that synths do after their destruction on the colony's grounds. Their white fluid spilled and no one batted an eye. The team of synthetic miners hit a pocket of compressed air, but more importantly, they had found something. The team had found a xenomorph egg, which they wrongly believed to be indigenous to the planet. One of the synthetics got too close and triggered the ovomorph. Since the synthetic could not be impregnated, the emerging facehugger stopped moving for a while, looking for potential hosts. It's now that it spotted the human among them and latched onto its mouth, giving him the deadly kiss. The first leg of a journey worse than death. One of the synthetics, 122M, brought him to the doctor, also a synthetic called 227N. You see, they were considered so low in status that the company didn't bother with giving them actual human names. That's where the issue and both subplots end, but of course they will merge together soon. The preview image for the next issue shows Cole dragging a dead xenomorph. Now that's going to be exciting. We're covering some amazing Alien and Predator stories, and if you reached this point, you might want to check our videos on the ongoing Predator vs Wolverine comics. We recently uploaded a deep dive into the first and second issues, and much like this one here, we'll cover the next issue as and when they get released, so I request you to subscribe and stick around for more. Marvelous verdict. Alien Descendant seems to be a nod to Ridley Scott's Prometheus in more ways than one. Much like Scott's film, this story revolves around a recovery mission to a desolate alien planet bankrolled by a company bigwig. This time it's Jun Yutani, pulling the strings from the luxury of his space yacht, echoing Peter Weyland's role in Prometheus. The setting, a snow-covered outpost surrounded by icy wilderness, might remind readers of John Carpenter's The Thing, with perhaps a hint of H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness thrown into the mix. The story's central central character, Zan, aka Cole, serves as a compelling blend of two familiar Alien Universal figures. Amanda Ripley, grappling with her mother's absence, and Rebecca Newt-Jordan, who faced the xenomorph threat as a child. Under the expert guidance of Shalvey and Braccardo, Alien Descendant steers the franchise in a promising new direction, much like setting a course for uncharted stars with the once doomed Sulaco.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.